Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Accountants Club podcast. I'm your host, Paul Redmond, and today we're focusing on one of the most important, possibly yet often overlooked elements of transitioning to advisory, and that's making the necessary mind shift changes. I suppose the compliance first mindset is the biggest problem as accountants that we're having in transitioning from compliance to advisory services. So that's the challenge, is breaking free from the compliance is the core of the value of what we do as accountants. Many feel tired and they're so busy, they're so overwhelmed, and they really don't know. And actually, they feel really safe in the tangible, deliverable thing of compliance because we were raised on it, we were reared on it. And everything to do with creating our files for our accounts, our current audit files, our permanent files, or, working through the safe zone of tax compliance, VAT, PAYE, corporation tax, income tax, all of those feel safe and all of those feel, busy. So if we're comfortable in that, the fear of stepping away from the familiarity of the compliance work is one of the things. And then it's lack of confidence in building strategic advisory services. How would I describe it? Say you were a lifeguard on a pool deck, to give you an example. You have the potential to be a swim coach helping people thrive rather than just keeping them safe in a pool. And that's no disrespect to lifeguards on a pool deck, but I'm trying to analyse this. And what's happened is that we're okay doing this compliance first stuff, and it's grand and it's safe and it's comfortable. But the problem that we have is that AI and automation is coming at us, is attacking us from behind. It's not the client now, it's automation and it's AI and it's bots and it's all of these things we hear about. So we're being attacked by computers, for the want of a better word, and being attacked by them. Our clients then are seeing that these services can happen and they're being done, and the age profile of our clients are growing. So there's, the younger client coming in now is seeing that this stuff, we don't need to have these people around, we can get this stuff. So it's that compliance first mindset. First of all, you have to be aware. If you're going to make a shift of anything, you have to actually be aware that we're in that mindset and that the practice is in that mindset. Now, I am not under any shape or form or anything in my psyche to say that compliance is not important. And I don't want anybody through all these podcasts to think that compliance work is not really critical and that we're not really proud of what we do in that. And that we're adding a massive service to a business and a business owner and a business owner's family by doing these compliance services. And we're a layer of protection from the client, between the client and between the revenue. We offer that layer of protection around that, and we help the client in that area. But unfortunately, the model has changed. And unfortunately, we have to get on the train, right? And this is a fast moving train. So we have to hop on that train at the station and decide what the destination is. And the only people to do that are the business owners and the practice owners. We have to do it in the first instance as a practice owner, because if we don't do it ourselves, how can we expect somebody else? The responsibility of somebody that owns a business or a practice, their very first responsibilities have to be, we have to decide what the culture and the strategic direction of the practice is, because that's our job. That's our job as the CEOs and the leaders of the practice. So if we're aware of this shift required, and that's a massive thing that I don't think the accountants out there are aware of, the mindset shift. And even if they are aware of it, then they don't know what to do with it. So today I just want to talk about the mindset shift. So what mindset do you need to be to move to advisory? And how do you start that? So to successfully transform into advisory service, we need to reframe the role that we have, not as record keepers, but as strategic advisors. And strategic advisor is the first role we need to have, as opposed to being a record keeper is the first role, right? So if we decide that we're going to be now strategic advisors, the record keepers will still be there, that role there. And compliance type services can be viewed as advisory services as well. Remember that. You can still have a compliance-based practice and see yourself as an advisor. So we have to move from the reactive approach, dealing with problem, crisis for a client, to the proactive approach where we're initiating these conversations with a client and we're making them aware of what's, If you're on that fast moving train, if there's something on the track ahead, we need to be aware of what that is before the train gets there. So once we decide that we're going proactive from reactive, the next thing we have to do is we have to absolutely 100% believe in the value that we offer. Like, we so underestimate the value that what being an advisor brings to helping clients navigate the world around us today. Navigating the business world around us today is cataclysmically different than it was when I started out years ago. The world when we started out years ago of accountants was in our local area, and it was our local businesses. And it was all about what was going on in that local area and that local business. That's gone. Today's world is completely different. Today's world is about the world. It's about businesses all around the world. And it's complicated and it's compliance heavy and it's different. So that proactive mindset that we have, and if we don't believe in our own value and our own mindset, how can we expect somebody else to believe in it? How can we ask the clients to have the confidence in what we can do? And clients demand that confidence now. And that all stems from the dynamic shift that changed this is not AI and automation. It was COVID. The COVID was the dynamic shift that changed. And our mindset changed during COVID, as we've talked about. The mindset shift that we had as accountants during COVID was advisory mindset. And clients don't understand why we just disappeared back into the old ways. And at times ourselves, we don't see that. The dynamic has changed from transactional to advisory, but we have to, now when we're meeting with a client, we have to begin every meeting with, tell me about what's going on in your business. What's your long-term goals? Are you on track for where you're trying to get to? Do you know where the problems arise? Are you aware? Have you enough cash? What's your burn rate for cash in your business? Have you any issues with suppliers? Is there a supply chain issue, which a lot of business have suffered deeply from recently? How is inflation affecting your business? The costs are going up. You can't bring that cost up. How is tax affecting your business? What's the government are shifting taxes. What's the long-term government view on raising or lowering taxes? How is that going to impact your business? So the information to this stuff. You have the confidence in talking about it, but it's all about how you address the business. And the place to start with the addressing that is in your own business. So where do you see your accountancy practice in 1 year's time, in 3 years, in 5 years, in 10 years' time? Where do you see yourself on the journey? And you have to understand what the answers to those questions are. You have to build your own discovery process within your practice. You have to put a plan in place for your business and you have to execute that plan. And that are things like, getting clarity around in the discovery phase. You need to get the clarity. And your mindset needs to be about, where am I? Have I clarity around everything going on in my business? What is my freedom number? How much do I need within my business? That's my mindset. My mindset of a very clear discovery for my business. Where are the risks and protections? What risks and protections do I need to look at in my business? Is that crystal clear for where the journey is? And then when you have that discovery, get a plan in place for each of those areas and then implement that plan. And you know what happens then? You do it all over again in 6 months or a year. It's rinse and repeat. And it's rinse and repeat the same thing every time. So the mindset is this power mindset of being proactive. That's really where you need to come from. So how do you cultivate the mindset? So how do you cultivate this advisory stuff? So you ask questions around growth. Ask questions around the future goals rather than focusing on sitting down and say, well, last year you done this. I'll tell you a little secret. Clients don't care. They really don't care. Like, if you're sitting with a client talking always about past numbers, the usual question is, how much tax do I owe? How many of you have heard that this year? How much tax do I owe for my business? They're not interested in the past. And compliance-based accountants are all interested in the past. We have to move to the future. So we have to set the future mindset for ourselves and understand when we set that future goal, that's proactive orientated. So asking growth orientated questions, and that sets the advisory goals for your firm. And really now you need to have specific goals. How many clients do you want to engage with advisory? Because sometimes we get overwhelmed and sometimes we have this mindset as a business owner, and we've talked previously about bringing other clients and bringing the team with us on the journey. Don't get too far ahead of them on the journey. That happened to me. I went too far down the rabbit hole, and I had to come back and I had to say, no, keep it simple. Advisory services are simple. Being proactive is simple. Ask simple questions and listen to the answers. So I suppose, how would I look at it? It's like moving from being a mechanic to a race strategist in a pit, right? You're no longer just fixing the issue that the car has. You're planning the strategy to win the race. So if you've ever watched the Formula One team, there must be hundreds of people around for that 4 or 5 seconds where the car's in the pit lane. Imagine that all the little things that need to come together. And it's a very simple, get that car out of that lane as fast as is humanly possible, right? So we're looking to get the business moving forward as fast as possible. We're looking to get the practice moving forward as fast as possible. What are the action steps for putting this in place? We begin with meetings with future focused questions for the mindset for ourselves. We're always asking clients about growth. What's the growth for today? What's the growth for next year? How are you going to grow your team? Have you enough cash in place for growing your business? What is that? And you're starting to excite the client then because they think it's possible then. And that's proactive. Set advisory goals. Establish firm-wide targets for onboarding clients and measure the progress. Reframe your role. Think of yourself as a business partner, not an accountant. Accountants don't particularly like this, but somebody asked me, what do I do? I'm a businessman who happens to run an accountancy firm. And that focuses your mind that you're running your own business, and then you've the skills necessary to help people run their businesses. And then you can contribute to the client's success. And when you contribute to the client's success, and as you get a bit older and you see next generation clients coming in, or you see clients in the retirement, that's a real positive impact that you have made on those people's lives. So if you stand back and say to yourself, how long have you been in business, and you're seeing 3 clients a week, and you multiply those weeks by the years, and you multiply the years by the length of time you're in practice, and then you multiply that by the number of people you've had in the practice, I promise you will end up very quickly looking at hundreds of thousands of different business situations. So if you're running an accountancy practice and you've dealt with 2, 3, 4, 500,000 different business situations in the last 25 years, why are you not the most qualified person in the world to talk to your clients? So reframe that idea into your own mind. So that's reframing your role. So I suppose the journey from compliance to advisory starts with the mindset shift. See yourself as a strategic advisor. And if you see yourself as this, your clients will see you as well. So if your clients are coming into you to meet and you're asking them about stuff that's going on in the future, they'll stop seeing you as, oh my God, I have to go to my accountant, I'm going to owe a load of tax, I'm going to have to do all of this stuff, and it's a problem. Instead of looking forward to say, I'm going in, I'm sitting down, I'm going to have a cup of coffee in my client's office with him, and he's going to talk to me about helping me grow my business. It's a completely different, vastly different mindset that you'll have. Thank you so much. I'd love you if you'd like this episode and follow us on, because it helps us with promoting the podcast. And thank you so much. Bye-bye.